Zorp nervously adjusted his antenna as he stood in front of the Galactic Council. The tall, skinny alien with blue skin and 3 eyes looked like he might faint at any moment. Today was a big day for Zorp. He was chosen as the new ambassador to meet the humans. The head of the council, a big blob-like creature named Blurp, spoke in a deep voice. Zorp, you have an important job. Go to Earth and learn about the humans. Don't mess up. Zorp gulped. He had never left his home planet before. But sir, he squeaked, aren't humans dangerous? I heard they still live in caves. The other council members laughed. One of them, a robot named Beep Boop, said, don't be silly, Zorp. Humans can't even fly. They're probably just hairy apes who discovered fire yesterday. Zorp felt a little better hearing this. Maybe the job wouldn't be so hard after all. He puffed out his chest, trying to look brave. I won't let you down, sir. As Zorp left the council room, he tripped over his own feet and fell flat on his face. The council members sighed. This was their new ambassador. The next day, Zorp packed his bags for the trip to Earth. He didn't know what to bring, so he packed everything. His suitcase was so heavy he could barely lift it. He put in his favorite snack, slimy slug chips, his Lucky Rock, and a book called How to Talk to Primitive Species for Dummies. Zorp's mom hugged him goodbye. Be careful, sweetie. Don't let the humans eat you. Zorp turned pale. He hadn't even thought about that. At the space station, Zorp boarded his small ship. It was shaped like a teacup and had the words Galactic Peace painted on the side. As the ship took off, Zorp waved goodbye to his home planet. He was scared, but also a tiny bit excited. The journey to Earth was long. Zorp tried to study human language, but he kept falling asleep. When he woke up, he found he had drooled all over his English for Beginners book. Finally, after what felt like forever, Zorp's ship entered Earth's solar system. He looked out the window, expecting to see a dark planet with cavemen running around. Instead, he saw something that made his 3 eyes bulge. There, floating in space, was a massive human space station. It was huge, shiny, and way more advanced than anything Zorp had ever seen. Around it were giant spaceships that made Zorp's little teacup ship look like a toy. Zorp's hands shook as he steered towards the human fleet. This couldn't be right. Humans were supposed to be primitive. As he got closer, he saw that the human ships had big guns and powerful engines. Zorp felt like he might throw up. A voice crackled over his radio. Unidentified alien vessel. This is Earth Space Control. Please identify yourself. Zorp tried to answer, but all that came out was a high-pitched squeak. He cleared his throat and tried again. This is Ambassador Zorp from the Galactic Council. I come in peace. There was a pause. Then the human voice said, Welcome, Ambassador Zorp. Please proceed to Docking Bay 7. As Zorp's ship moved towards the enormous human space station, he couldn't stop shaking. Everything he thought he knew about humans was wrong. They weren't primitive at all. They were powerful and advanced. And now he, little Zorp, who could barely tie his own shoes, had to meet them. The docking bay doors opened, revealing a group of humans waiting to greet him. Zorp took a deep breath. Well, he thought to himself, here goes nothing. He put on his best diplomatic smile, which looked more like a grimace, and prepared to meet the humans. As the ship's door opened, Zorp tripped on his way out. He tumbled down the ramp, rolling like a blue ball until he landed right at the feet of the human delegation. Looking up, he saw the surprised faces of the humans staring down at him. Zorp quickly stood up, his face turning a deep purple from embarrassment. He straightened his official ambassador robe, cleared his throat, and said the first thing that came to his mind. Take me to your leader, please. The humans looked at each other, then burst out laughing. Zorp didn't know if this was a good sign or if they were laughing at him. Either way, his first meeting with humans was definitely not going as planned. As he stood there, wondering what to do next, Zorp realized one thing for sure. This was going to be a very interesting visit to Earth. Zorp's tiny spaceship zoomed towards the huge human space station. His 3 eyes were wide open, and his blue skin had turned a pale shade of green. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. This can't be right, Zorp muttered to himself. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. Nope, it was still there. A massive human fleet that made his little teacup-shaped ship look like a speck of dust. As Zorp got closer, he could see the details of the human ships. They were enormous, sleek, and shiny. Some looked like giant silver arrows ready to shoot across the galaxy. Others were round like planets, with lights blinking all over them. Zorp counted at least 50 ships, each one bigger than his entire home city. Oh, sweet space slugs. Zorp whimpered. He fumbled with the controls of his ship, almost crashing into a passing satellite. Watch where you're going, buddy. A human voice crackled over his radio. Zorp squeaked an apology and tried to steer straight. As he approached the main space station, Zorp's jaw dropped. It was shaped like a giant wheel, spinning slowly in space. Zorp had heard humans still used wheels on the ground, but a wheel in space? That was crazy. The station must have been as big as a small moon. Zorp's ship computer beeped, telling him to dock at Bay 7. He gulped and steered towards it. The docking bay doors opened like a giant mouth, ready to swallow his tiny ship. Zorp closed his eyes and hoped he wouldn't crash. With a gentle bump, Zorp's ship landed inside the human station. He opened his eyes and peeked out the window. The inside of the station was even more impressive than the outside. It was bright, clean, and full of strange machines Zorp had never seen before. Zorp took a deep breath and stood up. His legs felt like jelly. He straightened his official ambassador robe and put on his most dignified face. You can do this, Zorp, he told himself. They're just humans. Big, scary humans with giant spaceships, but still just humans. As Zorp walked to his ship's door, he tripped over his own feet and fell face first onto the floor. Ow, he groaned. So much for making a good first impression. The ship's door opened with a hiss. Zorp stepped out, trying to look confident. He had practiced his greeting all the way from his home planet. Greetings, Earth beings, he announced in what he hoped was a grand voice. I come from the Galactic Council too. Zorp's voice trailed off as he looked up, and up, and up. Standing in front of him were the tallest creatures he had ever seen. The humans towered over him like trees. Zorp felt like a small bug about to be squashed. One of the humans, a woman with curly hair and a friendly smile, stepped forward. Welcome to Earth Space Station Alpha, Ambassador Zorp, she said. I'm Captain Maria Chen. We're honored to have you here. Zorp tried to reply, but all that came out was a squeak. He cleared his throat and tried again. Thank you, Captain, he managed to say. Your ships are very big. Captain Chen laughed. Oh, these old things. They're just our greeting fleet. Wait until you see our real ships. Zorp's eyes bulged. These weren't their real ships. He felt faint. Would you like a tour of the station? Captain Chen asked. Zorp nodded weakly. As they walked, he couldn't stop staring at everything. There were humans of all shapes and colors, walking and floating around. Some were wearing strange suits that Zorp guessed were for going outside in space. They passed by a window, and Zorp saw a human in a spacesuit fixing something on the outside of the station. The human waved at Zorp, who waved back nervously. Is that safe? Zorp asked, pointing at the human outside. Captain Chen nodded. Of course. Our spacesuits can withstand extreme temperatures, radiation, and even small meteor impacts. Zorp's mouth fell open. His own spacesuit could barely handle a light breeze. As they continued the tour, Zorp saw more amazing things. There was a room full of plants growing in space, a gym where humans were exercising in zero gravity, and a huge screen showing a map of the galaxy. And this, said Captain Chen, stopping in front of a massive door, is our main hangar. The door slid open, revealing a space so big Zorp could hardly see the other end. It was filled with spaceships of all sizes, from small one-person pods to massive cruisers. Zorp's legs gave out, and he sat down hard on the floor. This was too much. The humans weren't primitive at all. They were advanced, powerful, and had really, really big ships. As he sat there, staring at the incredible human fleet, Zorp had only one thought. The Council is not going to believe this. Zorp sat on the floor of the huge human hangar, his three eyes spinning in confusion. Captain Maria Chen looked down at him with concern. "Are you okay, Ambassador Zorp?" she asked, offering her hand to help him up. Zorp stared at her hand like it might bite him. Slowly, he reached out and let her pull him to his feet. He was surprised by how warm and gentle her grip was. "I'm fine," Zorp squeaked, trying to sound brave. "Just a little overwhelmed." Captain Chen smiled. "That's understandable. How about we go somewhere quieter? We've prepared a welcome party for you." Zorp's antenna perked up. A party? For me? He felt a little better. Maybe humans weren't so scary after all. They walked through more shiny corridors until they reached a large room. As the doors slid open, Zorp heard a loud shout. "Surprise! Well sown to Earth, Ambassador Zorp." Zorp jumped so high he almost stuck to the ceiling. The room was full of humans, all smiling and clapping. There were colorful balloons floating around and a big banner that said, "Welcome, alien friend." Zorp's knees shook. This was too much. He backed up against the wall, his eyes darting around for an escape route. A tall human with a bushy mustache approached, holding out a round, flat object. "Would you like a pizza, Ambassador?" Zorp stared at the pizza thing. It was covered in red sauce and yellow, melty stuff. To Zorp, it looked like a scary alien face with googly eyes. "Is it alive?" Zorp asked nervously. The human laughed. No, it's food. Very tasty. Try a slice." Zorp hesitantly took the pizza. He sniffed it, then took a tiny bite. His eyes widened. It was delicious. Nothing on his planet tasted this good. As Zorp munched on his pizza, more humans came to talk to him. They asked him questions about his planet and told him jokes. Zorp started to relax a little. Then a human child ran up to him. "Mr. Alien, can I touch your antenna?" Before Zorp could answer, the kid reached up and gave his antenna a gentle tug. Zorp let out a surprised bloop noise, like a submarine sonar. The humans all went quiet, staring at Zorp. Then they burst out laughing. Zorp felt his face turn purple with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry," the child's mother said, pulling her kid away. "He's just curious." Zorp waved his hand. "It's okay," he said, even though his antenna was still tingling. Just then, Captain Chen appeared with a fizzy brown drink. "Here, try some cola. It's a popular Earth beverage." Zorp took the drink, eyeing it suspiciously. It looked like the engine oil from his spaceship. He took a small sip and immediately burped so loud it echoed through the room. Bubbles came out of his nose. The humans laughed again, but this time Zorp laughed too. The cola tickled his insides in a funny way. As the party went on, Zorp started to enjoy himself. He tried more Earth foods, like something called chicken nuggets, which thankfully weren't real nuggets made of chickens, and ice cream, which was cold but didn't taste like ice at all. He also learned more about humans. They told him about their music, their sports, and something called memes, which Zorp didn't quite understand but found funny anyway. Towards the end of the party, Captain Chen brought out a strange object. It was round, with pentagonal patches of black and white. "This is a soccer ball," she explained. "It's used in one of our most popular sports. Want to try kicking it?" Zorp nodded eagerly. He had seen the humans kicking it around and it looked fun. He drew back his foot and gave the ball a mighty kick, and promptly fell on his back, his foot throbbing. The ball had only moved a few inches. As the humans helped him up, Zorp realized something. These humans were strong, much stronger than he had thought. If they wanted to, they could probably squish him like a bug. But instead, they were being nice to him, sharing their food and games. Maybe, Zorp thought, he had been wrong about humans. They weren't scary savages. They were advanced, yes, but also friendly and fun. As the party wound down, Zorp felt tired but happy. He had survived his first day with humans, and it wasn't so bad after all. Captain Chen approached him with a smile. "I hope you enjoyed the party, Ambassador. Tomorrow, we'll show you more of our technology and capabilities. Is that okay?" Zorp nodded, yawning. "That sounds great," he said. Then he remembered something and felt a chill run down his spine. He still had to report back to the Galactic Council about everything he'd seen. As he was led to his sleeping quarters, Zorp wondered, how in the galaxy was he going to explain all this to his bosses? Zorp woke up feeling excited. Yesterday had been full of surprises, but today he was ready to learn more about humans. He put on his best diplomat robe and practiced his serious ambassador face in the mirror. Captain Chen met him outside his room. "Good morning, Ambassador Zorp. Ready to see some human tech?" Zorp nodded eagerly. They walked to a big room filled with all sorts of strange machines. Humans in white coats were busy working everywhere. "This is our science lab," Captain Chen explained. "We'll show you some of our inventions." A smiling scientist approached them, holding what looked like a small stick. "This," she said, "is our portable water purifier. It can clean any water in seconds." Zorp watched in amazement as she dipped the stick into a cup of muddy water. The water instantly turned clear and sparkly. "Wow," Zorp said, his 3 eyes wide. "On my planet, we just drink mud." The humans laughed, thinking he was joking. Zorp didn't tell them he was serious. Next, they showed Zorp a tiny robot that could fix things all by itself. It scurried around, tightening screws and patching holes faster than Zorp could blink. "That's incredible," Zorp said. "Our robots are the size of buildings and mostly just fall over a lot." As they walked through the lab, Zorp saw more and more amazing inventions. There were flying cameras smaller than his fingernail, clothes that could change color, and even a machine that could translate any language instantly. Zorp felt more and more nervous. Humans were way smarter than he thought. What if they decided to attack his planet? They could probably take over the whole galaxy if they wanted. Just then, an alarm started blaring. Red lights flashed everywhere. "Don't worry," Captain Chen said, seeing Zorp's panicked face. "It's just a drill. We're testing our emergency systems." She led Zorp to a big window. Outside, Zorp saw humans in special suits rushing around. They were carrying huge pieces of equipment like they weighed nothing. "Those are our emergency response teams," Captain Chen explained. "They're trained to handle any crisis in space." Zorp watched as one human picked up a massive metal beam. The beam looked heavier than Zorp's entire spaceship, but the human lifted it easily. Zorp's jaw dropped. "How is that possible?" he stammered. Captain Chen smiled. "Oh, that's just Sarah. She works out a lot." Just then, Sarah, the super-strong human, noticed them watching. She waved at Zorp, then playfully tossed the giant beam in the air and caught it like it was a toy. Zorp felt his knees go weak. He had to sit down. "Are you okay, Ambassador?" Captain Chen asked, looking concerned. Zorp nodded weakly. "I'm fine. Just surprised. You humans are very strong." Captain Chen laughed. "Oh, that's nothing. Wait till you see our sports." She led Zorp to another room with a big screen. On it, Zorp saw humans doing all sorts of crazy things. They were lifting huge weights, running faster than Zorp's spaceship, and hitting tiny balls with sticks so hard they flew out of sight. "This is how humans have fun?" Zorp asked, his voice shaking. "Yep," Captain Chen said cheerfully. Want to try some arm wrestling? Zorp looked at his skinny blue arm, then at Captain Chen's muscular one. He shook his head quickly. Just then, a loud crash came from outside. Zorp jumped in fright. Oops, came a voice. Sorry about that. They looked out the window to see a human had accidentally bumped into a parked spacecraft. The spacecraft had a big dent in it, but the human was fine. Don't worry, the human called up. I'll fix it. Zorp watched in amazement as the human grabbed the dent with both hands and simply pushed it back into shape. The spacecraft looked good as new. Zorp felt like he might faint. Humans were not only smart, they were incredibly strong too. He remembered all the times he had thought humans were weak and primitive. Boy, was he wrong. Captain Chen noticed Zorp's pale face. Are you sure you're okay, Ambassador? You look a bit shaken. Zorp tried to smile, but it came out more like a grimace. I'm fine, he squeaked. Just processing everything. Captain Chen patted him on the back, nearly knocking Zorp over. I understand. It's a lot to take in. How about we take a break and get some lunch? I hear the cafeteria is serving something called spaghetti today. As they walked to the cafeteria, Zorp's mind was racing. Humans were smart, strong, and had amazing technology. And yet, they were being so nice to him. It didn't make sense. Zorp realized he had a big problem. How was he going to explain all this to the Galactic Council? They thought humans were weak and dumb. If Zorp told them the truth, they might think he was lying. Or worse, they might panic. As Captain Chen chatted happily about Earth sports and something called Olympic records, Zorp nodded along, but inside he was freaking out. He had to figure out what to do, and fast. Because one thing was clear, humans were way more than anyone in the galaxy had bargained for. Zorp paced back and forth in his room, his three eyes blinking nervously. It was time to call the Galactic Council and report what he had seen. But what was he going to say? He looked at the communication device the humans had given him. It was tiny and sleek, nothing like the clunky machines back home. Zorp took a deep breath and pressed the call button. The screen lit up, showing the blob-like face of Blurp, the head of the council. Ah, Ambassador Zorp, how goes your mission to study the primitive humans? Zorp gulped. Well, sir, about that. The humans are not exactly what we thought they were. Blurp's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Zorp's mind raced. He couldn't tell the full truth. The council would panic, but he couldn't lie either. So he decided to stretch the truth a little. Well, sir, Zorp began, his voice shaking, the humans are quite interesting. Their ships, for example, they're big. Big? Blurp asked. How big? Zorp's antenna twitched. Oh, you know, as big as planets. Yes, that's it. Planet-sized ships. Blurp's eyes widened. Impossible. Oh, it's true, Zorp said, getting carried away. And their space station. It's so big, it has its own moon. In the background, Zorp could hear other council members gasping. But surely, Blurp said, they can't be that advanced. What about their technology? Zorp thought fast. Oh, their tech is amazing. They have machines that can, turn stars into juice. Star juice, Blurp exclaimed. Yes, Zorp nodded vigorously. They drink it for breakfast. Very tasty, apparently. The council chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. And their strength, Zorp continued, really getting into his tale now. I saw a human lift a spaceship with one hand. They play catch with asteroids for fun. Blurp's blob-like body quivered with fear. This is worse than we thought. What about their weapons? Zorp hesitated. He didn't want to make humans sound too dangerous. Oh, they don't really have weapons. They're too strong to need them. They just punch planets if they want to fight. There was a loud thud. One of the council members had fainted. But don't worry, Zorp added quickly, seeing the panic he'd caused. They're very friendly. They threw me a party and everything. A party? Blurp looked confused. Why would they do that? Zorp shrugged. I think they want to be friends. They keep showing me their tech and asking about our planet. This seemed to calm Blurp down a bit. I see. Well, Ambassador Zorp, this is unexpected news. We'll need to discuss this. Keep observing the humans and report back soon. The call ended, leaving Zorp alone in his room. He slumped onto his bed, feeling guilty. He hadn't exactly lied, but he certainly hadn't told the whole truth either. Just then, there was a knock at his door. Zorp opened it to find Captain Chen smiling at him. Hi, Ambassador. I hope I'm not interrupting. We're about to have a demonstration of our new exercise machine. Would you like to join us? Zorp nodded, following her out. As they walked, he saw two humans carrying a large, heavy-looking machine. They were laughing and chatting as if it weighed nothing. Zorp's eyes widened. Maybe his stories to the council weren't so exaggerated after all. In the gym, a group of humans were gathered around the new machine. A muscular human stepped up to try it first. This machine simulates the gravity of Jupiter, a scientist explained. It's like lifting weights, but much, much heavier. Zorp watched in amazement as the human started lifting, the muscles in his arms bulging. He was lifting weight that would crush Zorp flat. Captain Chen noticed Zorp's shocked expression. Pretty impressive, huh? But this is just for fun. Wait till you see our construction workers. Zorp felt faint again. Construction workers, even stronger than this. As the demonstration continued, Zorp's mind was spinning. He thought about his report to the council. He had exaggerated some things, sure, but other things, well, the truth was almost stranger than his tales. He looked around at the smiling, friendly humans. They were incredibly strong and advanced, yes, but they weren't scary. They just wanted to share their cool inventions and make friends. Zorp made a decision. In his next report to the council, he would tell the truth, the whole truth. Yes, humans were strong and smart, but they were also kind and fun. They didn't want to fight. They wanted to play sports and invent cool machines and explore space together. As Captain Chen offered to let him try the Jupiter machine, which Zorp politely declined, he felt better about his decision. The council might be shocked, but they needed to know the truth. Humans weren't a threat to the galaxy. They were its next great allies. And Zorp, the little blue alien who once thought humans lived in caves, was going to make sure everyone knew it. The day had finally come. The humans were visiting the alien planet. Zorp stood nervously at the spaceport, watching the sky for signs of the human ship. Do you think they'll like our planet? Zorp asked Blurp, who was jiggling anxiously beside him. I hope so, Blurp bubbled. Just remember what you told us. If they start throwing planets around, run. Zorp gulped. He hadn't had the heart to tell the council the whole truth yet. They were in for a big surprise. Suddenly, a shiny human ship appeared in the sky. It was big, but definitely not planet-sized. Zorp heard disappointed murmurs from the crowd of aliens. The ship landed smoothly, and the door opened. Out stepped Captain Chen, followed by a group of smiling humans. They were carrying boxes and bags. Greetings, friends, Captain Chen called out. We come in peace, and we bring gifts. The aliens gasped. Gifts. They were expecting planet-punching monsters, not Santa Claus. Captain Chen approached Blurp and Zorp. It's an honor to visit your beautiful planet, she said, bowing slightly. Blurp tried to bow back, but nearly fell over. Zorp quickly steadied him. Do be welcome, Blurp stammered. We are prepared for your visit. He glanced nervously at the row of super-strong alien guards, each holding a feather, the most dangerous weapon on their planet. Captain Chen smiled. Oh, that's not necessary. We're just excited to learn about your culture and share ours. The humans started handing out their gifts. There were boxes of chocolates, bouquets of flowers, and even small toys for alien children. Zorp watched in amazement as the scary humans he had described turned out to be nice. Really nice. A human child approached a group of alien kids holding a colorful ball. "Wanna play?" he asked. Soon, humans and aliens were laughing and playing together. Blurp turned to Zorp, his bloody face confused. "I thought you said they drink star juice for breakfast." Zorp chuckled nervously. "Well, you see." Before he could explain, a human scientist interrupted. "Excuse me," she said politely. "We heard you have some fascinating plant life here. Could you show us your gardens?" Blurp brightened up. Plants were his favorite subject. "Of course. Follow me." As they walked to the gardens, humans oohed and awed at the alien scenery. They asked questions, took pictures, and even tried pronouncing difficult alien words. In the garden, the human scientist gasped in delight. "These flowers are incredible. The colors, the shapes. May I take some samples to study?" Blurp swelled with pride. "Of course. I'd be happy to explain their properties." While Blurp chatted excitedly with the scientist, Zorp noticed Captain Chen looking at him with a knowing smile. "So, Ambassador Zorp," she said quietly, "planet-sized ships and star juice, ah." Zorp's face turned a deep purple. You knew." Captain Chen laughed. "We intercepted your transmissions. Don't worry, we're not mad. We think it's kind of funny, actually." Zorp hung his head. "I'm so sorry. I was just scared. I didn't know what to tell my people." Captain Chen patted his shoulder. "It's okay, we understand. First contacts can be scary. That's why we try to be extra nice." Just then, they heard a commotion. A group of humans were trying alien food for the first time. "This is delicious," one human exclaimed, munching on what looked like a glowing blue apple. "What's it called?" "That's a slime fruit," an alien replied. "It's our favorite snack." The humans and aliens started swapping foods, each delighted by the new tastes. As the day went on, Zorp watched in amazement as humans and aliens became friends. They shared stories, taught each other games, and even started planning future visits. Blurp waddled up to Zorp, looking happier than ever. "Zorp, these humans are wonderful. Did you know they have plants that eat insects?" "Fascinating." Zorp smiled. "Yes, humans are full of surprises." As the sun began to set, Captain Chen gathered everyone together. "Thank you all for your incredible hospitality," she said. "We hope this is the beginning of a long and beautiful friendship between our peoples." The aliens cheered. Even the guards with feathers were smiling now. As the humans prepared to leave, promising to return soon, Zorp felt a wave of relief and happiness. He had been so wrong about humans, and he was glad. Captain Chen winked at him as she boarded her ship. "Remember, Zorp," she said, "the truth is often better than any story we can make up." Zorp nodded, watching the human ship take off. It flew away, leaving behind a sky full of twinkling stars. Stars that, Zorp now knew, were full of wonderful surprises and potential new friends. As the aliens waved goodbye, Blurp turned to Zorp. "You know," he said, "I think I like the real humans better than the ones you described. They're much nicer." Zorp laughed. "You're right," he said, "and just wait until you try their pizza." A year had passed since the humans first visited the alien planet. Today was a special day, the first annual Intergalactic Friendship Festival. Zorp stood on a stage, looking out at the crowd. Aliens of all shapes and sizes mingled with humans, laughing and chatting. He couldn't believe how much had changed. "Welcome, everyone," Zorp said into the microphone. His voice only shook a little bit. "Today, we celebrate our new friendship with the humans." The crowd cheered. Blurp, standing next to Zorp, jiggled happily. Captain Chen stepped up to the microphone. "We're so happy to be here," she said. "Let the festival begin." The festival grounds were a mix of human and alien cultures. There was a food court where you could try Earth pizza or alien slime fruit. Games from both planets were set up for everyone to play. Zorp walked around, amazed at what he saw. A group of humans were trying to play gloop ball, an alien sport where you had to catch a ball that kept changing shape. They were laughing as the ball slipped through their fingers. Nearby, some aliens were learning to play basketball. They were using their tentacles, tails, and even antennae to try and shoot the ball through the hoop. "Hey, Zorp," a voice called. It was Sarah, the super-strong human he had seen lifting heavy things on the space station. "Want to try arm wrestling?" she asked with a friendly smile. Zorp gulped. Maybe later," he said quickly. Some things hadn't changed. He still didn't want to arm wrestle a human. As he walked on, Zorp saw the alien scientist Blurp teaching a group of human kids about alien plants. The kids were poking at a plant that changed color when you touched it, giggling in delight. In another corner, human scientists were showing aliens how to use microscopes. The aliens were amazed to see tiny creatures living in a drop of water. "Isn't this wonderful?" a voice said beside Zorp. It was Beep Boop, the robot member of the Galactic Council. Zorp nodded. "It's amazing. I never thought I'd see humans and aliens getting along so well." Beep Boop's lights blinked happily. "And to think, we were once scared of humans. All because of your funny stories." Zorp blushed. "Yeah, about that. I'm really sorry for exaggerating things." Beep Boop patted him with a metal arm. "Don't worry about it. If you hadn't, we might never have met the humans. Sometimes, a little mistake can lead to big friendships." Just then, they heard music starting. A human band was setting up on a stage, with some aliens joining in with their own instruments. The lead singer spoke into the microphone. "This song is called Stars Apart, Hearts Together. It's about our new friendship." As the music played, humans and aliens started dancing together. It was a funny sight. Blob-like aliens bouncing next to humans doing the robot dance, tentacled creatures twirling with human children. Zorp found himself tapping his foot to the beat. A human girl noticed and grabbed his hand. "Come on, let's dance," she said. Before Zorp knew it, he was in the middle of the dance floor, trying to copy the human dance moves. He probably looked silly, but he was having too much fun to care. As the day went on, more activities unfolded. There was a costume contest where humans dressed as aliens and aliens dressed as humans. There was a talent show featuring skills from both planets. One alien did a great impression of a human trying to eat with chopsticks for the first time. Towards the end of the day, Captain Chen called everyone together for a special announcement. "We have a surprise," she said. "Our scientists have been working with your scientists on a joint project. We're going to explore the galaxy together." The crowd went wild. Zorp couldn't believe his ears. Humans and aliens, exploring space as a team. "Our first mission," Captain Chen continued, "will be to the Star Cluster Caxus 2023. We'll be leaving next month. Any aliens who want to join the crew are welcome." Zorp felt a tap on his shoulder. It was Blurp. "You should go," he said. "You started this friendship. You should be part of the next big adventure." Zorp's eyes widened. "Me? But I'm not a space explorer. I'm just me." Captain Chen overheard. "Sometimes," she said with a wink, "the best explorers are the ones who are brave enough to make new friends." As the festival wound down, Zorp looked up at the stars. They didn't seem scary anymore. Instead, they looked like twinkling opportunities, full of new worlds to discover and new friends to meet. He made up his mind. He would join the mission. After all, if he could survive meeting humans and telling wild stories to the council, he could handle a little space adventure. As the last of the fireworks exploded in the sky, spelling out friends across the stars in both human and alien languages, Zorp felt truly happy. The galaxy was a big place, but with friends by your side, it didn't seem so scary after all.